Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing on today? I am so excited to be here. I have some wonderful, lovely lady that I'll be bringing on tonight. I'm just so excited. We've been knowing each other for quite some time, but I just wanted to thank you guys for joining me on Sacred Healing. Sacred Healing has been amazing. And we have been bringing on some wonderful guests who have been really imparting into us and educating us on health and wealth and just different areas in our life that we do to overcome and um, certain stages in our life that we may be facing. Bringing on these women who have been through so much and have overcame so much, and they are standing and they're victorious. They are walking in their testament. They have manifested their lives and stuff. So I'm just glad that Sacred Healing is able to share these women's stories, that we all have a voice. And on a Sacred Healing, that this is what it's about. Sacred Healing is about edifying you. Sacred Healing is about bringing the best out of you. Sacred Healing is about enlightening you, for you to walk in your greatness, because that's what I'm doing. I'm walking in my greatness. Everything that I've been through, every obstacle that I have faced, every trial and tribulation that I have faced, I refuse to give up, and I am just pressing forward and paying it back. And that's what we're about, is about paying it back, doing God's work of how we, wherever we're at, we should be able to shine a light. But I do want to bring on my good friend. I'm super excited. She's dear to my heart, but none other than Miss Sarita. I'm going to add her to the stage. How you doing, sweetheart?
Hi, everybody. I'm blessed. I'm glad to be here.
I am so glad to have you. Sarita, you know what? Everyone, this is Sarita. This is a good friend of mine. We were just talking about Sarita, tell me, how many years have we known each other? We were, was it
Um,
24 or 25?
so, about 24 years, 24,
Yes.
24 years.
And I'll
I
never
started
forget,
2001.
I'm telling you, and this young woman walked in full of life, bubbly, always had me smiling, always had me laughing. And we did hair together, you guys. This is when she was in the hair industry with me, and we sat right next to each other. But we always went out to lunch. We were always doing something, just cracking up or, having a little giggle here and there. But the amazing thing about you, sweetie, it was just your natural, genuine love that
Thank
I loved about you, because you were just so natural. It was just like, it is what it is. You get what you see. You were never trying to be nothing more than who Sarita was, but your compassion of love just for people,
you.
and genuine, because you were just always an affectionate type of a person,
I know. Yeah, I still am.
you know. And so I wanted to bring you on here because I want you to share your story, like from the beginning, like who is Sarita? Who is the depths of this woman who keeps conquering and who keeps pushing and who keeps, like saying, you know what, I refuse to settle for anything less, no matter what my reality is, no matter what I'm going through. Who is Sarita? Where did it start? And where are you today?
Oh man, I don't think we have enough time for
I
that.
know we got 30 minutes, girl. We got
But
30 minutes.
I will start somewhere in my healing journey.
Yeah, okay.
Before my healing journey, I've been through some stuff like everybody else. We all have a story. Um, but me working into my purpose started 19 years ago.
Okay.
My daughter she was just a little baby, and I was working at a law office, and I was in an abusive relationship with her dad. If you guys, I'm sure, I'm transparent with my stuff because I wrote a book about it. So I was really locked in
Mm-hmm.
in the house. You know what I mean? I really couldn't do much. All I could do was work and, living in his shadow. And
Wow.
I got tired of my boss telling me, you missed your calling. You missed your calling. And he was like, because I had everybody in the office laughing all the time. I was
Always.
entertaining people no matter where I went. I knew I was going to be an entertainer when I was 5 or 6 years old. I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
it my whole life. My aunt used to have videotapes of me and my cousin, doing all types of comedy acts, me singing. I'm standing up there doing a stand up all by myself at 8 years old with a house full of people, and they loved it. So I knew I was going to be that, but I just thought it would fall in my lap.
Okay.
Had to work hard for it. And God said, once you work hard for your purpose, I'll grant you what you want. So I did that. And anyway, so my daughter was a baby. I'll tell you, it started 19 years ago. And I called home to my godmother, and she was watching my daughter. I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead to act in school. I want to be an actor. I need to take some classes. She's like, finally, I've been wanting you to do that for so long. So I got home, and she had all these schools written down for me. So I called the schools, and some of them you had to wait a year to get in, 2 years and stuff. But I remember writing down this one school called Nick Conti. Well, things took a turn. Still had to be a mom to two kids. Who had time for that when you got a newborn baby? So 5 years later, I think it was 5 years later, I finally got into the school. I finally,
Okay.
you know what, I'm going to do this. I went ahead, got into school. Things were going really fast for me. When I started doing things like interviewing people, I worked some guy did come up to me while I was in school and say, I like the way you talk. I want you to be an interviewer. There's a new show coming out called Love and Hip Hop.
Okay.
To interview some of the guests on there. And I'm like, what is that? Nobody knew what Love and Hip Hop was back then.
Right.
So I came to the launch opening party. I interviewed everybody. That's when I met Stevie J and Benzino and Mimi. I met the whole cast. Everybody knows I'm friends with them too, to this day. That's how we met, by me being an interviewer. So from then, I moved on to working for Balad TV, interned at 94.5. All the time I was in school, but my life was going so fast, I took it for granted. And I got involved with some other stuff I shouldn't have been getting involved with. I lost everything. My house burnt down.
Wow.
My car actually blew up.
Your car?
I had a new BMW, brand new BMW, and the engine just blew up one day. So I lost everything,
Uh-huh.
and I went into a heavy depression. And I went and stayed in a hotel, gained a lot of weight. I started doing drugs. I started hanging around people that, would get me into all kinds of stuff. I didn't even know nothing about this underground world that
Right.
goes on after 1 o'clock in the morning to like
Wow.
6. There's a whole nother life and world out there during those hours for real. So went through that. And when I lost everything, I moved here to Atlanta, and I said, I'm tired of this. I'm going to start over. I moved to the hood. Okay. I've never lived in a hood day in my life. I've always had nice homes.
Okay.
Maybe the story you say you want to know. So to reinvent myself, I said, I'm going to move to the hood. I'm going to, move into a cheaper type of neighborhood so I can save money, so I can take these background jobs. Because if you start off doing background in acting, they don't pay much.
Gotcha.
So in order for me to live on an acting career, I needed to sacrifice and live somewhere where I'm
Right.
not used to living. So did that. And something told me to write a book.
Okay.
Because I had came a long way. I was coming a long way. You know what I mean? I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really doing it. I'm back on my feet. I'm losing this weight. Okay. I didn't say in between, I gained a lot of weight. I was depressed. I was just a mess. I was just not myself. So I took some time off, about 4 years off of acting. And no, maybe 3 years. It took about 3 years off acting. I was just a hot mess. I didn't know where I was coming and going. My faith wasn't strong. I was in demonic stuff, seriously.
Right.
And I wrote the book. Here it is. It's on Amazon, guys.
Tell them the name of it, Sarita. What is the name of your book?
It's Stepping Into the Light.
Okay.
Stepping Into the Light. It's on Amazon by Sarita Seda. You can just Google my name. This book will come up. And something said, you need to live your truth. You need to tell people that you did this. You need to tell people how you did this. I started meditating. I started manifesting. I started writing everything down. I started jogging, walking, just getting those toxins out of my body. I started praying more. I secluded myself from everybody. People thought I did not like them anymore. And it's not that. It's just I cannot be around you if you're living this way.
Right.
And I'm trying to change. And I just didn't want those spirits in my house no more.
Right.
I didn't want to be around that kind of stuff. So I had to lock in with myself. I had to dig deep and be focused. And that was about 4 years ago. And then
Okay.
after 2 years of doing that, I got my SAG card.
What?
Yes, I got my SAG card 2 years ago, and I was ecstatic. I mean, this was like the best day of my life, honestly.
Wow.
That's what I had been, working hard for and striving for
Right.
years. That's your main goal. If you're an actor, you want to be SAG. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's where you make the big bucks. That's when you're involved in good projects, and there's a lot of perks. There's a lot of
Uh-huh.
perks. I get sent screenings and all kinds of stuff from SAG all the time. Do I want to come to this red carpet, that red carpet? But they're always like, "Oh, it's tomorrow in LA." I'm like, I'm not rich yet. I can't just jump on my private jet and fly out
Right. Right.
see, Michael B. Jordan on red carpet. Like, no. So, like I said, I locked in. I got my SAG 2 years ago, but when I got my SAG, it became harder. I thought it was going to become easier. It
Okay.
became harder because now you're in a league of elites.
Gotcha.
And I wasn't elite. I was
Right.
just getting my life back together. But now I think, I'm ready. That's why my roles are getting bigger.
Okay.
And serving God and doing his work, being patient, doing a lot of manifesting and just believing in myself and constantly believing this was going to happen. It did.
Did it ever come to where it just seemed like it was delusional how like
Oh,
what you expected out of your life, and then maybe other people on the outside like are saying like, do you really believe this is going to happen? I mean, if it hasn't happened yet, what makes you think it's, I mean, how did you push past that? Because I mean, the reality can look shaky, you know what I'm saying? How did you what was it that you said, you know what, I don't care what nobody says, I don't care what my reality says, I mean, it may look crazy to you, but it doesn't look crazy to me.
I had to deal with that from everybody. My daughter's father, my family, my friends always believed in me, but they were like, my friends they actually are the ones that really didn't say nothing negative. Maybe they were thinking it and didn't. I don't know. My
Right.
family would say straight up, like, they ain't even paying you enough money. Like, why are you still doing this? Uh, my brother told me I need to just quit and get a job with one of his friends. She was like a dispatcher, making XYZ or whatever. And
Right, right,
I'm like, duh, no, I'm not quitting, because if I do that, then
right.
like, no, I'm not doing that. Because if I keep pressing forward and I get to where I need to be,
Uh-huh.
sky's the limit, and I will have an abundance of cash flow and wealth. So I'm not worried about that. You know
Right.
what I mean? As long as I can pay my bills, take care of my kids and myself, I'm straight.
And you've been doing that.
Yeah. And
And
2 jobs, because but I did just strictly, well, I had to get back to work. Let me tell you this. Let me start here. So for 2 years straight, I did nothing but acting. Like I said, I was living in the
that
hood,
was it.
so I can afford to live there and still have a good lifestyle or whatever. So those 2 years straight. And then when I got my SAG card, they told me I couldn't do that anymore. So now I had to look well, I got into a good gig. I got a good gig that was Love and Murder on BET Plus. I think that was
Okay.
second SAG role, and I worked with them for 2 weeks, and I made like 14,000
Okay.
in 2 weeks. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm straight, I'm good. So I rode on that money for a little while, and then had got another gig here and there. But the reality was it wasn't consistent flow.
Okay.
So I had to go back to work. I went back to work 2 years ago. Well, like a year and a half ago. No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I went to work 2 years ago. And now I'm ready to step off and just go ahead full-time acting now, because I got some stuff lined up. But yeah, I had to go back to work. So I've been working 2 jobs for the past 2 years. And it has not been easy, but
And your pivot. I mean, a lot of people don't know how to pivot like that, Sarita. I mean, because can you please tell them? I mean, you go from acting and say, okay, now the gigs are, not as they're not coming, and now I got to pivot to work. Some people don't think that, hey, I got to still work. Like, you got to go to work and make it
oh yeah,
happen.
you have to work to make your dream work now. Listen, you got to invest in yourself, because this hair and nails and clothes and photo shoots and I have to buy studio equipment for my home so I can do these auditions so they can be quality work.
Right.
That cost, so
Yeah.
where's the money going to come from? You got to have a job.
Right.
I tell people all the time, you have to invest in yourself. So that means you have to work a 9 to 5 so you can get paid for your passion and your purpose.
Right. And a lot of people don't understand it. Like that, I
Mhm.
mean, you're working 2 to 3 jobs and then trying to pursue your passion and not giving up. And can you imagine what you were talking about, like sleepless nights?
Yeah.
I mean, what goes through your head when you're laying there
Um,
and you're excited and then you're overwhelmed? And I mean,
mm,
all this. I mean,
overwhelmed. Well, my anxieties kind of went crazy in the past couple of years because I get off work at 5 o'clock and then I have to rush home and maybe I have to have an audition in by 8 o'clock. So I have to go home, do hair, makeup, rehearse, set the studio up, and paint on this smile like I just got this perfect life. Hi, I'm Sarita. You know what I mean? But
right.
really, I'm like, oh my God. Like, help me, God, please get me through this.
Exactly. But you make it, but you make it look with grace,
Mhm.
and I know that, and nothing but God.
Nothing but him. I pray before I do everything, anything. I don't care if I have to pray 5 times a day. That's what I have to do to get my mental going so my body can be going.
Do you remember the time when you said that you went into a deep depression? At that moment, what was your breaking point that said, you know what, I have to pull myself out of that depression? Because you wouldn't be here today if you were still in that mode. What do you remember what your breaking point was to say, you know what, enough is enough? Because a
Uh,
lot of women face these things. They just don't know what step to take, and then they stay stuck, and then they're not walking in their purpose.
well, besides the voice from God,
Hmm.
knowing that I knew better because I'm one of his, I'm a chosen one. So
Yes,
I
you are.
knew that. Even when I was doing drugs at 3 o'clock in the morning, something would pop up and be like, you're better than this. And and I'd be like, shut up, and I would just, go to sleep or do whatever. But when it started affecting my health, whenever
Okay.
I would sleep all day till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was just doing nothing with my life. And I got tired of doing nothing with my life. And, I would work a couple of gigs, doing some acting gigs. And then the other couple of days, I would be asleep or drinking and just, trying to still escape my reality that I wasn't where I needed to be at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got tired of, I just really physically got tired.
Now, during the time of even going through all this, because you are a caring person, did you ever go through stages where people were just pulling on you?
Oh my God, yes.
And then you're trying to, like, I'm trying to get my own breath of air. Were there times where people were just like constantly pulling on you? And like, how did you set yourself up for, like, hey, this is about me.
I did a clean house. I did
Okay.
a clean house. That house that I was telling you about that I lived in Atlanta,
Uh-huh.
Bankhead, everybody. Uh,
Teresa said,
that
yeah.
wasn't trashy and all, nothing like that, but it was you come out of my neighborhood and you might be like, oh shit, lock the doors. So I had a basement, and I had always had somebody living in the basement. I had somebody living in another room. I just said I when I got clean and I finally got serious about everything, I kicked everybody out
Hmm.
and I just focused on me and my kids. I
And
just
that was it.
something just sparked in me one day because that house that I had, girl, I lived there for couple of years, a few years, and I counted, I've had over 12 people live with me. When I moved out, I had 9 huge, hefty trash bags of full of people's clothes.
Are you
Some of
serious?
everybody's shit. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what was I going
Wow.
through? I must have been very depressed, but I wanted to help them. They were all in bad situations.
Even in your situation, you were still trying to help,
I
even
had
in your situation.
one time I had 3 different women living with me with kids. It
Three
was
different.
like a shelter. My house was definitely like a shelter. I think that's why I favor to this day too.
Of course, because
So many
you've always had a
women
passion for people. When I met you, you had a passion for people. So I know that was just something in you. So you just see somebody in need and
been like that since.
despair. Girl, I know you. You probably were like, "Come on in, it's okay." Yeah,
I'm like, I'll set your daughter up a room on the side, a bed on the side of my daughter. My
right.
daughter's like, why are you moving these people in my room? I would feed homeless people when I was a kid, all my allowance. My dad used to get mad. My stepdad used to be so mad at me for doing that. We'd be on vacation. I would have no money at the end of the day because
See?
I gave $50 out all day to people. Like, why would you do that?
But look at you now, though, Sarita. Even though, you know what I'm saying, even in your despair, that you still found a way to give back somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? When it didn't make sense to a lot of people.
Yeah, I did. I really did. That kind of got me hurt though, because
Hmm.
a few of them backstabbed me real bad in the end.
But you know
Um,
what? I mean, that just makes us stronger.
oh, definitely.
Because at the end of the day, because you are who you are, because God created you to be that way. But even though you said they did some things to you to hurt you, but really they hurt themselves. They didn't really hurt. It may have
Oh,
You may have felt the effect of
yeah.
hurt, but they really set themselves to be hurt themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And just to see how God is working in your life, and vibrant that you are, and that, like you said, you're always saying, I put God first. That your secret sauce is nothing but God.
Hmm.
And you wouldn't be here today if it wasn't but God. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that this is a personal walk.
Hmm.
This is something that you take everywhere you are. You know what I'm saying? No matter where Sarita is at, this is her. This is where her light shines.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a humanist. I'm gonna be that way to the day I die, even though people have hurt me, and I'm not scorned by it. I'm just
Uh-huh.
cautious.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not letting anybody live with me anymore. I'll pray for you.
Yeah. Honey, let me tell you what.
But
Yeah, I'll pray
I
for you
can't
from a
do that
distance.
anymore.
But you know what? Those are learning things, because you do want to help people. You do want to see the best. But a lot of times people, they don't really want that.
Yeah.
They just want a place to where I could lay my head, hopefully that they don't notice that I'm not going to be doing anything but just being here. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
not really being humble enough to say, let me accept this help and be thankful.
Yeah, it's just a quick fix for them, and they'll go on and use the next person.
Now, tell me about this movie documentary that you are wanting, or in pursuit of your own.
Oh yes. So some of it will be based on my book,
Okay.
Stepping into the Light. Most of it will
Mhm.
be about me and my journey, and you will get to see exactly. Like I said, we don't have time for that on here. You will see exactly how I woke up that day. It was like I looked up and I said, "This is it, no more." Just start kicking people out. Listen, you got to go. It's something that I have to do with me. Like I really have to take care of myself. I'm listening to God right now, and he's on me, and I got to change like now. So it's about that. It's about how you can overcome domestic violence, because it was really hard for me
Wow.
for to leave this person. Even
Wow.
I was scared of him.
Terrified.
They're like, how could you be with somebody that's beating you up like that?
Wait,
I
were
have,
you in this for a long time? I mean, the abuse. Did you for experience the abuse for a long time, Sarita?
yeah, yeah, 16 years.
16 years.
Yes.
16 years.
16 years of verbal, emotional, physical, financial, any type of abuse you can endure. I went through that for 16 years. And I've had, like, even sometimes you'll see me talking if my mouth might do like that because I had a fractured jaw. My lip is a little bit bigger on this
Uh
side.
huh.
I have to concentrate when I'm talking so it doesn't show even my pictures and when I'm doing auditions. So it's hard. My cornea was broken. If I show you guys a picture right now, you wouldn't even believe that was me. I was almost unrecognizable.
And that was that when you said, "Okay, I'm out of here," or did you?
Believe it or not, no. I
Wow,
stayed for maybe 4 or 5 more years after that.
Sarita. After that,
Oh, he never did it again. I broke his arm, and my
right?
he came over there, and just it was.
I can't even imagine. Yeah, yeah, we know your family. Okay,
Uh,
listen.
he never did that again. I think that's when he stopped hitting me, but the
Right,
verbal abuse was still there. And so after a while, I was like, I'm not scared of you anymore. Like, you get the hell out of here.
right, right. And you know what the effect that does to your mental.
Oh
I mean, to find yourself through all that, Sarita, I mean, literally to find yourself, like your voice.
To pray. I had to meditate. I had to go to therapy.
Hmm.
I did actually had to seek professional help because my relationships with people would fail because I was used to being abused. So I became abusive, not physically, but I would
Okay.
talk crazy to guys and I would just be rude and you know
Okay.
it's just it wasn't right.
I got you.
So I had to get some professional help with that and fix my attitude and clean all that gunk out.
And look at you now. Now, when I went to okay, what stage were you at when I went to one of your movie premieres?
That was my first movie.
Okay,
Okay.
that was your first movie.
That was my no. That was my second movie. My
Okay.
first movie is called Atlanta to New York. You guys can see it. It's on YouTube. It's a really low budget movie. I was in school at the time. So that Atlanta to New York was my first movie. Turnt was my second movie. And
Okay.
that was with Jamal Willard, the guy who played Biggie and some other people in there.
Uh-huh.
And you came to my red carpet
When I seen you
screening.
on that, and I was like, you know what? I have to go
I
because
loved
it
it.
was just like, just you.
Hmm.
I just knew you. You know what I'm saying? And just to see you like it to do what you did, it's not easy work. And I knew that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That stage, I was I was full of myself.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it real. You know one thing about if you can't take the realness, don't talk to me. Cause I'm gonna tell the truth. Okay.
Exactly. Yes, you
I
will,
was off the
Sarita.
chain.
Okay.
So yeah, I was off the chain right then. And after that is when I went into depression.
After that, wow.
That's why I hadn't been in any movies after that for years. Yeah.
Isn't that something, Sarita?
Yeah. I mean, I was all the way up and then went whew, all the way back down.
That
And
quick.
I had to dig myself to come.
But you know what? Even these are the paths that we have to take. It's our journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I mean, if you didn't have this journey, Sarita, you wouldn't be where you are today. You wouldn't be the woman that you are today. You wouldn't
Yeah.
have the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding and the triumph and everything that you could be a pillar in the community for women like you.
Mm-hmm. Amen. That's so true. That's so
You
true.
know?
And I think about that sometimes, like you said, laying in bed at night. I'm like, God, it's like, why did you take me all that? Well, I had to learn, you had to learn all these lessons. I had to learn. I had to be ready, and I had to be headstrong for what I'm going to, the phases that I'm going in now. See, I know my worth now. You
Now you know your word. Hey, honey, you couldn't tell you nothing now.
Now I go into them, my interviews and I go in there with my agent sometime and we negotiate and like, listen, I already know what you're supposed to pay me.
Hello.
So, mhm.
But it's the confidence that you have, though,
Yeah,
Sarita. I mean, doesn't it feel good to have the confidence that you have?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? I mean, but but honestly, to me, you've always had confidence, even if you didn't show it.
I have my days still, because I'm in my 40s, my early 40s now, and I don't have that body that I used to. So this is for all women. We get in
Right.
our 30s, 40s, we start getting cortisol. We start,
Yes.
every little thing makes us gain weight because I don't like eat out of control, but it's like, just life,
Now, Sarita, how is it for? I mean, being in the industry, are they with like appearance?
It's so
I mean, oh wow.
some production companies are very, very shallow.
Okay.
I wouldn't say everybody, because there's big women, there's big actors, all over
Right.
the place. Look at Miss Pat, there's just a lot of them, But when it comes to being in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
like where I am,
Mm-hmm.
they will look at you like you're lazy.
Are
Like,
you
why are you
serious?
not working out every day? Why is your, there's no being in the middle. So right now, I'm working on self, but
Oh,
still God is, on my side and working with me. So I'm still booking things. I'm still getting paid. I'm still getting like tons of auditions a week. But I feel like a lot of those are being tossed because they're like, oh, she's just like 10 pounds overweight. And then the camera's going to add another 10. So I still have to stand strong and be confident through all that.
All that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All that. On top of that, I mean, you have to have some thick skin here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, Starita, I just, I love having you on here, sweetheart. Of course, our time is up. This
Oh,
wasn't enough time, but
uh-uh.
sis, let me tell you something. I'm honored and I'm thankful for you to come on here and share your story, because women need to hear this. Women need to know that,
Thank you.
hey, I've been in the pits of hell, but
Yes,
I
literally.
also could come out and stand, and triumph and dominate and come out and be who God created me to be. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying, Sarita, for real? Because I bet you nobody ever in a million years think that you would be where you are right now today.
Nope. Nope. I've had so many people talk down on me and think that, oh, she's just an extra. Listen, guys, wherever you start from, you have to start from the bottom to work your way up. And if you stay consistent and it's your purpose, anything that serves God, serve others, and pays you, that's your purpose. Don't
That's
let
your
nobody
purpose.
talk you out of that.
That's it. Hey, that's how we're gonna end it. You said
Okay.
I was just gonna ask you, what could you say to the people out here, and you said it.
Look at God. Look at God.
You guys, we
Thank
hate
you
to
for
go.
having me.
No, thank you, baby. I appreciate you. You're beautiful. I love you, your family. You know that.
Yes,
Always,
too.
always been real. We're always gonna be tight, and I'm
Always.
always gonna be cheering from you, because let me tell you what, I cannot wait until literally you on big camera to me, baby. But I know what you're seeking for. I
That
can't wait
lead.
for that day. I cannot wait for that day, and I'll be glorified and
It's
clapping for
coming
you as always,
soon. It's coming
sweetheart.
soon. Thank you. Thank you for
You
always
guys, we
supporting.
gotta go. We hate to say goodbye, but
All
we have
right.
to say goodbye. Love
Bye,
y'all.
guys.
And you know what? Bye bye.